feeding so that just grow and then beautify our country. Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Stanford. Kashif, over to you.
Oh, hello everyone. Good morning.
You want another one?
It was nice meeting you, everybody. So my name is Kashif, sir, and originally I'm from India, but I live in America for a long time, and I've traveled so many states, almost 40 states, and live in 12 different states. And I actually, and so my profession, I am a environmental lab chemist, but I've worked for 15 years in the lab, testing soil, water, air, coal and oil and different things. And so I was amazed with all these different things, and we're trying to eliminate the pollution and whatever the act of the mankind who have destroyed the planet. We're trying to recover some of it, or try to have regulations and rules so people will not destroy it further. So, but my job was basically I was testing soil, water, metals, trace metals analysis. So basically that was my background and for the professional wise. And then by faith I'm Muslim and I follow Islam, but I'm more like very 1400 years when Islam was completed. And that's what I follow, the basic Islam, monotheistic belief that the Creator who has created everything. So I believe in monotheistic belief in one Creator, one God, and in our language you call Allah, in Ilahi, in Aramaic language of Jesus. And so is the God of Abraham, God of Moses, the same Creator who is the creator Adam and Eve. So it's the same Creator we worship and we follow. So I don't have any sect, Sunni or Shia or different. So when I was a child, from that time I'm following the same faith and was born. And in my family they have different sects, Sunni or Shia or different things. So that's just a little brief description. And in the nature actually, I am very amazed with the communication of all the different things in nature. So the creation of the one Creator. So like the mountains and the ocean, streams and different animals and plants, I feel like they communicate with each other. They have so much harmony. Like the cow from Australia can communicate with the cow in India, for example, or the horse, or the insects or bugs or birds. They know one language. They can communicate with each other, and that amazed me. How they can live their life and everything, and like we human, we cannot communicate unless we know the same language and or main language, but we need an interpreter and all this thing. But these animals, even the mountains communicate with each other, the water communicate with each other, and it's so much bonding and communication, and it looks like they all worship one Creator. They know who created them, and that was amazing, like in the nature how different things have a very good ecosystem, how they manage everything, all different cycles and different things, and that's actually what I like to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. And yes, the connection and the wisdom that we can learn from our natural environment is yeah, very, very true. I know there's somebody whose name is Hyacinth U40, and I don't know who that is, but I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself. If you are there, I'm hoping you can unmute and introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I don't know if anybody else knows who they are. But let's see if you're able to unmute. Otherwise, yeah, okay. I think maybe I'll connect with them in the chat. And then I think that's everybody except our special guest speaker, Ben Chidao. I don't know if you want to do just a brief introduction, and then we'll get Basu to do like a proper introduction to our conversation for you to share. But if you'd like to just say hello and by way of checking a particular part of nature that you connect with, to join our circle.
Thank you all for being so patient. I apologize due to the timing confusion here in Florida. I was just live at the monastery, and I had to stop everything, run into a restaurant for Wi-Fi to be here with all of you. So sorry. um, I'm a clinical Buddhist monk, so life moves a little quick here. My name is Venerable Jidao. I am 36 years old this June. I've been a monk for 8 years. I have been studying, practicing Buddhism ever since I was very, very young. I went to Eckerd College, which emphasizes a lot on social and environmental change, most notably marine life. They wanted us to graduate and do something about what's happening in the world. My research in the environmental factor was on microplastics and sharks. However, additional to my studies is also about racism, climate change, books like Hope Beneath Our Feet, research on the Copenhagen Consensus Center by Dr. Professor Bjorn Lomborg. And, I tried out the TikTok thing, and I guess I got really popular on there, and I wanted to use my influence, my voice to impact the world in regarding advocating for not just spiritual change, but also change in the environment and systemic change altogether in totality. So I hope that introduction would do it justice.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more. And I will just say, by way of my piece of nature that I wanted to bring in is the rain, actually, because we've had so here in Cape Town in South Africa, it's rained all day, and that is quite unusual for us at this time of year. And it's been a really beautiful. I want to say the rain is very symbolic of kind of like a releasing and a letting go of things, and I've really enjoyed the reminder of that today. So I'm going to hand over to Vasu to facilitate and hold the rest of the space. That was just the introduction. Thank you so much for all the wisdom that you being shared. So Vasu, in terms of framing our conversation, we've already had so many good thoughts that have come up in terms of social and environmental justice just in this introduction. But Vasu, maybe there's more you want to add to bring in our speakers.
Thank you so much, thank you so much, everyone. Today we are very happy to having as a guest speaker, Bruno Tridao. So welcome, Bruno Tridao again. Today we are here together from diverse religions, diverse countries, languages, expressions, to make a reflection on what is the role that we, each of us, have to take care of the environment, and how the diverse religions, traditions, spiritualities, values can come together to collaborate and to take care of the environment together. So, Bernard Tridao, the time is yours to open with the reflection, and after that, we can have an exchange of questions and answers. Thank you, Bernard.
Okay, so I was doing good on time. I thought I was really late. Thank you all for joining. Okay, all right. So, so I'm talking about both, right? Environmental and social. Okay, good. All right. So let's touch up on social justice so far. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Let's do environmental justice so far. I know we have a lot of things to cover today. I also want to let everyone know, for further research into the both subjects, I have found that Dr. Bjorn Lomborg is first and foremost frontline leader on this matter. You can find him on Copenhagen Consensus, as he talks about education, health, hunger, malnutrition, armed conflicts, biodiversity, chronic disease, climate change, infectious disease, water sanitation, trade barrier, inequality, population growth, trade and migration, climate, engineering, emission, abatement, technology-led mitigation, education, natural disaster, and corruption. It's very moving to see this type of research in the world, the caliber and magnitude of it. In regards to environmental The Buddha says that I'm a Theravada Buddhist monk, by the way. The Buddha advises us a wise person does not harm his or her environment. The three poisons we humans are stuck with is greed, anger, and ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. Because of the ignorance of the Four Noble Truths, it fuels the greed. It fuels the greed. Greed for what? Want what? Want more resources. I want your land. I want the gold in your land. I want lithium. I want silver. I want all of these things. We see that across our world, where nations overtake another nation because we want something in your hometown. We want something. We want diamonds. And it's terrible. When we look at the Four Noble Truths, when we look at the second Noble Truth in regards to desire, wanting something and not getting it, we suffer. And getting something that you don't want also constitutes suffering, like a flat tire. And when you want something and you don't get it, it fuels anger. When we slow it down, it fuels unpleasantness in the mind, unpleasantness in sensations and feelings. Vedana, which is in insight meditation. So therefore, when we see the root cause of this poison found in all humans, dating back thousands of years as Homo sapiens, Homo habilis, study of anthropology, history, and psychology, comes now fast forward 2 millenniums later, 2,600 years later, 2,566 to be exact, with the best available science we know about the mind, the best available science we know in Buddhism. One must be aware through mindfulness, meditation, step by step, our use of plastics, how we're contributing microplastics into the environment, how many trees are being uprooted, how many wooden furnitures, paper, everything, how much we consume as consumers. What can we do as individuals to help the environment thrive? How we can cohabitate in harmony? How we can stand up using our voice and the existence of social media to make such a lasting impact, a profound impact, such as Greta. Everyone remember the little girl named Greta? I believe Thunberg is her last name. And just so young, but it was her conviction and belief and confidence in what we're doing to the planet and how everyone can stand up for the planet, because our planet sometimes doesn't have a voice. Well, she has a different voice, right? Mother Nature has a different voice. That's through the hurricanes, through the earthquakes. Mother Nature speaks in her tone, language, nature, style, and disposition, and it is heard across the world and most recently. However, we humans have to do our part in standing up for Mother Nature so that we don't have to hear Mother Nature speaks and stand up for herself. I wrote some notes along the way in regards to this subject. The mind and its surrounding environment are understood to be inseparable and interdependent. Buddha came to understand that one exists as a isolated entity is an illusion. When we look at dependent origination, this is because that is. This is not because that is not. This is born because that is born. This dies because that dies. And how interdependent and connected how things are when we look at water pollution. Well, this is because of what humans did. And the seizing and purity of water resources or any other resources being depleted, or the purity of it, was due to changes of carbon emissions and carbon footprints in the world. This is because that is the reflection on such. Simplicity of life involves developing openness to our environment and relating to the world with awareness. It enables us to enjoy without possessing and mutually benefiting each other without manipulation. Buddha taught us to live simply, to cherish tranquility, to see and appreciate the natural cycle of life. The ocean, the sky, the air are all interrelated. Water is life and air is life. Buddha learned his wisdom from nature. So I invite everyone to reflect. Monks are usually found in the forest. We connect our mind with nature and nature with mind. Subsequently, that leads us to a profound sense of peace because Mother Nature is there readily available to teach us. It is us humans that don't use our senses, channel the senses to hear what she's trying to say to us and how she can teach us to live in harmony with each other. Am I doing good on time?
Yes, we are good on time.
I can move on to social justice?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not used to the timing thing, so I have to compress everything. In regards to social justice, we see there is the proliferation, magnitude, and prevalence of Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, Black, White, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Mexicans. It would take me forever to name all of the ethnicity, nationality across the board. More than ever before, the existence of social media can be a tremendous, powerful tool for each individual to share their story, buying through their own story of their own injustice in their community, in their state, how government takes over land, and lack of protection for certain individuals, lack of protection for certain individuals who are of poverty and disparity, lack of access to food, water, shelter. And so therefore, the Buddha first and foremost was uneasy about the caste system back in the days of India, the Hindu tradition. So happens to be the Hindu tradition. But we see examples across the world how, even in my own country and even in your country across the world, how government, everyone just misuses power. The Buddha says that those who are in position of leadership and power, be gentle over others when you're in positions of power. It is these reminders that we need in the world of interfaith. When people go to church and people go to monasteries and look at the statues or of the crucifix of Christ and Buddha, they are reminded, what would Jesus want you to do? What would Buddha want you to do? What would Allah want you to do? What would Shiva want you to do? And had everyone reflected on the Four Noble Truths, for example, of loving your neighbors as Christ would teach, I believe that they would not do the foolish things that they do. How they forget, right? And humans, we simply forget. And because we forget, we create all sorts of injustice, not just in the world, but also back right here at home. Social justice practiced should be first and foremost in our own home, how we speak and relate to one another, then to our neighbors on the outside of our doors, and subsequently our community context, then our state, then our nation, then our international relations to one another. And change starts from within, and we inspire other people by and through our own change. When we are at peace, we speak in the most peaceful, calm voice. Power behind our voice, power behind our statement and sentence. How truly we are convinced that this must take place. And so we inspire other people just by and through our own voice alone. And they see, wow, he wanted social justice because justice started back at home with him and within. Things that has happened with him or her that now leads him to now hold the microphone to inspire other people. And again, back to the long list that I said earlier, social justice involves education, health, hunger, malnutrition, inequality, population growth, trade and migration, biodiversity, armed conflicts, and the existence of neurodiversity with people with special needs, with intellectual diversity and intellectual rights within people who are struggling with ADHD in the DSM-5 diagnosis, in intellectual arena. We've seen a lot of the spectrum of those disorders and how we should stand up, not just everything that I have mentioned, but also people with those needs and the occupational aspect. So I hope that I did that justice in some way, shape, or form. This, of course, will require a lot of reflections on everyone's part across the world and everyone here at URI. And I can answer any questions if you like in regards to the both of this magnanimous subjects.
Thank you so much for the so important the word that you know. So I wonder, how do you think with social media we as a young people we could impact our society for peace, for taking care of the environment?
Yeah, young people, every generation, it seems like the generation before us have this impression, right? Like generation millennial, myself, oh, we're lazy. We get a trophy for just getting out of bed. It's a me generation, me, mine, I, as it touches the practice of Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. However, everyone has a voice, and I don't think people understand the magnitude of their voice, the power behind who you are, your age, what you carry with you, where you've been, where you're from, your whole story, the body, your body of evidence, and how you can use that to put on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and say, hi, my name is Karen, my name is Victor, my name is Yam, my name is Hassan, and so on and so on. And this is what I'm seeing, this is what I've been studying, and this is what research shows us. And this is, I truly believe, if we go out and we volunteer, truly believe if we reduce, reuse, and recycle, that we can make a small impact in our community back here at home, and how we can change our environment and so on. And with enough of it, the cycling through over and over, the perpetual reminding of other humans, of our brothers and sisters, of our parents, everyone out there in our community, eventually they will get it, right? Look at where we got to where we are today, all of us here, including myself. It was through, we had a big heart of compassion for the world, of our environment, and of other humans. We want to give more, we want to take less. And how we were reminded by other holy men and holy women, other leaders across the spectrum, and how we were so moved and inspired by and through their own change. Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Dr. MLK, and do it. The privilege to know this information and a duty to act is what I would remind all of our young people.
Thank you, Barnabas. So I will share here in the chat something that we can focus on this conversation, and we are open for any questions that you all may have from Barnabas Trinidad. Next, I would like to ask you, Barnabas Trinidad, what is your hope for the young people? You work for the well-being of the young people, and what is your hope? What do you hope the youth to do?
My program involves mitigating and reducing teen suicides because of the trauma, addiction, and abuse that a young person has gone through in their life. And it is my hope I have been rehabilitating them. When people who follow me, they can see all of the Project Julius, Project Stephen, Project Eric, to name a few out of dozens of students, dozens and hundreds of students. My hope for young people is that, number one, we gotta do our homework about ourselves. Spirituality is knowing yourself. Who am I? Where have I been? Where am I at? Where do I want to go? How do I want to inspire the world? Live a life and legacy in your life. My hope is that young people understand that they're all gods. All of you all are gods. Now people ask me in Buddhism, you all believe in God? And I'm like, let me help you reflect that each and every single one young student can be a god. How? Well, number one, you can buy a gun and be a god. And number two, the microphone that you hold and everything good imaginable your thoughts, your speech, and your actions make you one of the most powerful individual to channel change in the world. So when you are fully healed yourself, you find your voice, develop confidence, self-esteem, self-concept, self-value. You use everything that God's giving you, all the gifts that God's giving you, everything that the universe is giving you, eyes, nose, everything, the ability to walk, talk, and you use all of that gift and you give it back to the world. And you make an impact, and you will be remembered as that person that came and conquered and left. She came, he came, conquered and left. And how he and she impacted in some way, shape, or form. Never think that you are too insignificant to make a change. And that's my hope for the people. It always has been and it always will be. And I will stand by any single one of you. When you stand up for social and environmental justice, you have someone that backs up right behind you, and that's me.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So in the chat I have shared the focus that we have on the role of the diverse religions, faiths, traditions on social and environmental justice. The first question is, what does your own faith, religion, tradition, or values say on social and environmental justice? And how this connects with your number 3 now? So I wonder, Sarah, Nina, Jan, Victor, D'Angelo, everybody, what does your faith say on social and environmental justice? And a quick quote that we mention values because we want to honor also those people who don't feel identity in a specific religion or faith. Atheists and also secular people.
You don't have to be shy.
Who would like to share?
Yeah, this discussion, I can share a little bit based on my faith. So actually, according to our faith and belief, we say when we are closer to God, if we develop a connection to our Creator who created us, Adam and Eve, and this one Creator that we worship and we believe, the Arabic name is Allah and Ilahi and there are different names in Judaism or in Christianity. And so that Creator who has created the whole universe and the earth and all the creation. So if we develop the awareness and the connection with our Creator, we will be more aware of of other creations, including the mountains, the ocean, our own planet, all the creatures, animals, plants, other human beings. Our family, relatives, non-relatives. So we will have more awareness because we know that we're also the creation of one creator, one God. And so this will have a lot of things that it has a lot of injustice and social injustice in the world these days, and a lot of calamities and environmental damage. That we can all get together and solve this after we have the awareness of who created us. And that's what we believe, and I think that will, and the Arizona Interfaith Council, I think is doing a great job, that through this connection with different interfaiths and different people with different beliefs come together and work together for one cause. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Cassie. And D'Angelo, I saw that you would like to share.
Yeah, I can share. So, just to touch briefly on both environmental justice and social justice. On the environmental side, I can say, as a Christian, I have a strong belief in the creation of all things by our Father, by God. And I think that is one of the biggest drivers for me personally, and also for others, my Christian brothers and sisters, to respect the earth as a gift from God. Because it is something that He gave us with love, and if we treat it like it's nothing, then it's like disrespecting that gift that He's given us. And so I think that that's, for me, that's one of the main reasons, is just my strong belief in the creation and in the earth as a gift from God. That's something that drives me to push for environmental justice. On the social justice side, I can definitely say that all of the things that I've been involved with, because I'm involved with the NAACP in conjunction with the church. My church, specifically the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, has been collaborating recently with the NAACP to advance rights and to fight against prejudice against African American people in the United States and across the world, people of African descent. And I think that one of the driving factors in one of the statements that the church and NAACP put out is that we share a common belief in the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. And that is something that Jesus taught extensively when he was during his ministry, that we are all brothers and sisters because God is our Father. And his powerful message of service and of not putting yourself above other people, even though he was so powerful, he didn't put other people down. He lifted other people up, and he was their servant. And he showed them love through this humble service. I think that that's something that pushes me to fight for like social justice, is that idea of being humble, like following the example of Jesus, loving everyone, no matter what they've done, who they are, as Jesus did, and serving them humbly. That's something that me and other Christians, I think, have to hold on to as we're looking for a deeply rooted reason why we should fight for social justice. So,
Thank you so much for sharing the idea. Somebody else would like to share?
Osman, I'd like to know. Well, once again, thank you so much. And yes, as I stated earlier, I belong to a Hindu family, but I'm grown up in the Buddhism. But I always say that humanitarian is my religion, and I believe in humanitarian, and I work for the humanitarian. So, just to answer your questions from the perspective of the environmental justice, not only the youth leaders and the social workers in my countries are focusing on the environmental justice. We are in fact focusing on the intergenerational environmental equity and justice. And also soon my college will have a own class started Masters in Environmental Studies Law, which will begin in the next month to come. So, on the other hand, I would also like to mention that, as I mentioned earlier, that our guiding principle for economic or social development in the country is cross-national happiness. Under that philosophical principles, we have one major pillar which states that protection of natural environment and the sustainable development goals, which means that whatever the developments that are going to be happen in the country, it must pass through the gross national happiness screening tool. So that screening tool particularly measure the amount of impact that particular project is going to give it to the environment, and also injustice is going to cause to the neighboring and the people living there. What kind of the pollutions or the negative impact is going to happen to the people living nearby are already measured. And if the project fails to pass through that tools, then that project is particularly rejected, and it will never the development will never take place. So in all, what we try to do is we try to maintain the watershed, we try to maintain the animal habitats. That's why we have around 9 biological hotspots and then also sanctuaries and parks that are protected, so that as earlier, Amit Nelson mentioned that the animals can communicate from any parts of the world. So we give them a way that the animals from south of the country can reach the north, and from the north can come to the south. We give them, we do not try to disturb the ecological circles. So we always try to maintain that. And from the social justice perspective, it is we already know that the very concern that we are having at the moment is that there are so many animals being raised for the food, and also when I studied in my college, one of the course was environmental ethics and animal welfare law. From where actually I became a very activist for animal rights. I'm still fighting for that because in some of the countries, animals are treated very badly. They are made to work very hardly. They are given a very overloaded work, and then they are treated very very badly. So I felt very sorry to those animals, and then I joined some other organizations and give my opinions how it should be. Should animals also deserve equally the gross national happiness? Let's say they should, like we deserve, they also deserve a happiness, and then also like us, they also have a. I came to know through certain theories that the animals and the trees have a unique underground network systems that can that works like a mobile networks we use today to communicate with one another. That's very amazing. So I feel that in terms of social justice, we should also pull up and then also educate the people. So the interesting thing that we have developed in our Pakistan is like schools, institutions, and colleges around the country. We observe Green Monday, which means no meat items or anything will be served on Monday. And it's also good to see that many people, state board, they come to the social media sites. We have so many activists who are fighting for the animal rights, and they are also taking care of the animals, street animals, that are honorless animals, and then we're taking them to our animal shelter and keeping them here. So it was in fact a great inspiration from the king himself, during the lockdown when the stray dogs in the streets were not having enough food. His Majesty, the king himself, ordered his army to cook for this dog and feed them all over the country. So from that, we have seen a lot of some volunteers coming up and then also helping the homeless dogs. They have also provided some, kept some shelters around the nearby tree, under the tree so that they can have a peaceful night. And then the current development is that we can see so many people, who frequently come to that social media page and then they commit that they will not take meat here on, or they will contribute something, some amount for the welfare of animals, the poor dogs, the poor horses that are being sent free. So I think we are doing quite okay in terms of social justice, and the very interesting is that nowadays, the people have so much of the Buddhist people has really shown a great attachment with animals. They come to this animal shelter areas and then they celebrate their birthday with the animals, and that's a very interesting development that we can see at the moment. So in fact, in their long run, I think we will be really able to understand the importance of animals and their welfare and right as well. So I'm still, I still have one question to the presenter here. From the perspective of Buddhists, what do you say? Do you agree that animal deserves right or animal deserves death? So many people, there have been a conversation among them, great lawyers and then also policy makers around the world that animals usually do not deserve rights because rights are backed by the duties. And if the animal does something harm to the people or community around, who will be responsible for the harm done by that animal? So this has been a major discussions among the leaders around the world that and then they say that animal actually does not deserves to be deserves right, and then some animals are particularly designed for food. So what is your perspective or thoughts on this? So I just like to hear that from you. Thank you.
I can answer that, Venerable Vasu.
Please,
Okay. When we study the rebirth realms in Buddhism, anyone can Google 6 rebirth realms. We believe that the animals was once humans and then took rebirths. We should consider that any and all animals, any sentient breathing beings, were once animals. And we should respect them. That's why we have the gift of safety, Sila, the first fold training in Buddhism, out of the 3-fold training. Sila is keeping the morality. Don't kill, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, refrain from sexual misconduct and intoxicating substance. But don't kill, because all beings want to be happy, right? The animals want to be happy. They want to be left alone. They don't want someone to hunt them, because in their own apex predators, the food chain, it's always something always trying to chase after it and kill it itself, notwithstanding humans. So we humans need to understand that with deep understanding, compassion arises for animals. We all should ask the people who are hunting them, I mean, how would you feel if you were a leopard, a giraffe, a cat, a dog? How would you feel if someone chases after you with a 9mm handgun? You would live in fear. No one wants to live in fear. In Buddhism, if you take a life, your life will too be shortened. But if you extend the life, and that's why we have the merit release, the practice of merit release, then your life will be prolonged with less pain and suffering in your life. That's why people with a lot of physical ailments, maybe their last life or this life, they've been hunting other animals. When an animal attacks you, a human, what should we do? First and foremost, I'm not wearing dark brown, I'm wearing gold, but dark brown are Thai forest monks. And Thai forest monks, they hang out in the forest a lot. They don't even lay down to meditate. They sit and meditate, and then they sleep. That's their sleep, 4 hours. They eat once a day. Now, Thai forest monks, they also get eaten by tigers. Yeah, all the time, actually. The Buddha taught us cannot fight back and do not fight back, because it is our karma that we're being eaten. It is our karma that we're being attacked. Some of the rules are you can fight back when it comes to other humans attacking you, but you cannot kill, and that is in extreme senses. In extreme senses, it is to be used with utmost discretion, as uttered by Yutatamo Bhikkhu, can be found on YouTube. Quite frankly, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. What they do to you is their karma. What you do to them is your karma. So therefore, if I'm in the forest and a tiger is gonna jump on me, well, I guess it's time to accept the fact that this is my fate. And it's a very long, debatable ethical question of morality and ethics. But we would never know until it happens to us, right? But I would say that retreat and exercise your intelligence. Humans should exercise their intelligence, because we have intelligence and animals sometimes they don't. And we should try to steer away from danger, the causes and conditions that can lead us to danger. Don't put yourself in a position where you can be attacked, because it leads to impulses, human instinct and impulses, where we could generate bad karma for ourselves. Again, we should not resort to violence. We should really not. The Buddha would frown on that. And that is my response to you. That was a good question. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. So we would like to record, as a call of action, we would like to record the conclusions that we have for this conversation all together, so we can share that in social media. So I would like for all of you to think if you would like to participate, to have your video or how you feel more comfortable, to give some conclusions. And also we have a question from Stanford in the chat before to recording everything. So Stanford, thank you for coming. He asked, in your country, how do you engage Bernard Montreal? Or how can youths be engaged in ensuring the religion is so much into social and environmental justice?
How do young, I'm sorry, I have background noise here. You said in my country, how do youths get involved in social justice?
That's correct.
So at the current time, I've been living in America. I came here when I was 7 years old. So I've been living in Florida for the past 28 years, more than 28 years. And that's what I see. I see a lot of youths here. And I also observe observations of youths in Vietnam, where I'm from, Nha Trang City. Use social media to stand up very adamantly, to have a very strong voice, to talk about pollution, to talk about social injustice, about education, systemic changes, and into the details of such subject and matter at hand, and how they are studying law, and to be well informed through the informed lens of the law, and to use that as the proper tool to actively engage in debating, in standing up for one's rights and rights of other people. They have found their voice, and I'm very happy to observe that and to report back to all of you those results. And again, every year our young people is evolving intellectually higher in advancements of cognition, in memory. You guys are just wonderful, beautiful human beings. And to see how you channel your intelligence for the benefit of others and our environment is one of the greatest things to ever observe as a human myself in this lifetime. So again, keep doing good jobs at it. But that's how I have been observing all of the youths here, and that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me up and out and putting on my robes and out of bed and continue to cheer, continue to motivate, continue to inspire, because it's by and through the young people that all of us find more energy, invigorating, necessary to propel forward in a endless cycle of samsara and suffering for both the environment and for socialism.
Thank you so much. So we would love to recording the conclusions that we have for this conversation. So if you feel comfortable to having your video on or off, and if you would like to share your conclusions, we can record it and sharing that after in social media as a call of action. So I will start to record it, and I wonder, Bernard Montreal, if you would like to start with your conclusions of this conversation.
Recording in progress.
Mindful that young people from diverse religions and spiritualities, today we came together to engage for the social and environmental justice. Bernard Montreal.
Thank you. As we come to an end in today's discussion about environmental justice, climate justice, and social justice, I'd like everyone to reflect on what you can do. Each and every single one human who has a phone, the most powerful thing that you have in your hands, the world in your hands. Information, Wikipedia, Google search, YouTube, access to that, the privilege to know. The privilege to know life-saving information for our planet, life-saving information and standing up for other humans across the board, and a duty to act. Failure to act constitutes injustice. And for the many things out there, I'd like everyone to reflect on is education and access to education, quality of education, health for all, hunger, malnutrition, inequality, population growth, trade and migration, armed conflict, chronic diseases, infectious diseases, water sanitation, emission abatement, technology, lead mitigation, natural disasters, corruptions across the world, and government systems. With your help and everyone's help in channeling your intelligence the proper way, the most compassionate and deep understanding way, Your way, your religion, your philosophy, your practice can help all of us come together in unity and cohesion to make one of the best and most impactful stance in standing up for environmental change and social justice for all.
Thank you, Brother Montreal. And we open for anybody else for your conclusions. Victor, D'Angelo, Jam, Sarah.
May I go?
Yes, please, Sandra.
It's hard to know what to say in the midst of such wisdom and details, but what comes to me is this. No matter what is going on, all life embraces us. And we can do, even when we're overwhelmed, still smile at someone, even if it's just yourself, and allow the smile to be on your whole being, in your eyes, in your breath, in the sounds that you emit, in your presence. And even that simple first step, first effort, will lead you to other actions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. Somebody else would like to go next.
Well, for me, I missed around like 15 minutes of it. I had a client that come in who was hard of hearing, so she needed extra help in communicating what type of services she needed. It's something that I've learned in the Franciscan tradition is the welcome introduction, or not introduction, interruptions, welcome interruptions in daily life. And I think a lot of folks, they see these sort of like things on news and like, you know, climate change and environmental disasters happening across the world, primarily in developing countries that are forcing people to migrate. So it sort of begs the argument, or I guess dialogue about what can we do that we can have people welcome these interruptions as you know, moments of conversion or moments of like actually listening to these interruptions. You know, because the world is telling us these things, giving us signs that we're hurting it, you know, that it's suffering, and people are suffering because you have all these logging companies and companies all around the world essentially destroying the world for profit. And you know, it's really you know, we have to sort of welcome these interruptions. You know, glaciers melting, you know, many countless examples, and beg the world really to listen to, you know, folks on the margins, and also species that are dying out because of our ignorance and inaction.
Thank you, Victor. D'Angelo.
Thank you. Something that I've really been impacted by during this meeting, from the words of Venerable Tridao and the rest of the people here who have shared their thoughts, is that even though we might all see the world, like have different perspectives on the world, because we're from various parts of the world and we see different things, we speak differently, we understand things differently, but at the core, we each have a similar power, a common power within us, which is our voices. To speak up for the world, to speak up for those around us who are being negatively impacted by the actions of others. And I think that's the common power that we all share, even though we see things differently. We share a passion to create a difference, to make things better for our world and the people around us. And we share that power of our voices to speak up for them. Just like Venerable Tridao was talking about, how the earth doesn't necessarily have a voice in our society, or at least people aren't always listening to the voice of the earth. And similarly, people who are oppressed or who are marginalized by some way or other often don't have aren't listened to, just like the people aren't listening to the earth. But we have the power to speak up and to be that voice, to use that power that's within us to push for change, to push for a difference because of that passion that we have and that desire that we have to create a better world. So that's something that I learned during this meeting today. Yeah, I'd like to say thank you again to Venerable Tridao for his wisdom that he shared with us, and for the rest of the participants today. I've learned a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. Somebody else would like to share. Sarah?
Yeah, I'd just like to share that I've been so moved by everybody's sharings, and I particularly want to highlight Venerable Sridhar, you quoted the Buddha as, in terms of referencing one exists as an isolated entity, but that idea is an illusion, that we exist as isolated entities, and I really love that in terms of the interconnection that it opens up for in terms of our experiences, and particularly across URI and the world, really just seeing the ways that we're interconnected, not just together but with nature. And a question that I'm leaving with is, I'm curious about how our different religions encourage us to tap into those senses, and encourage us to tap into kind of sensing what doesn't kind of exist in a tangible way, but and encouraging us to sense that interconnection with each other and with our environment. And it's a question for us to explore in maybe another dialogue of what are the teachings and the practices from, I know there are many in Buddhism, but in other religious traditions as well, that encourage us to lean into that more. And I will just say, I also really love, Victor, your idea about welcoming interruptions was really beautiful, because I think the world, you're right, is constantly changing, and something I'm fascinated by is about our relationship to change, and do we run away from change, do we need to change, or how do we just with this constantly changing world, it feels like how can we navigate that with a sense of power and joy and creativity and unity and all of those things. So thank you for sharing that idea, and yeah, thank you to all of you for the incredible work that you're doing as well around the world. This really is the purpose of the kind of, URI is a network, but also the Youth Connection Cafe is just to be a space of sharing and connections. So I wanted to say, if anybody's been inspired and wants to stay connected with somebody else, please feel free to, reach out to them and stay connected in that way. So yeah, a big thank you, Venerable Sridhar, for your words of inspiration as well.
Thank you, sir. Cassie.
Oh, sorry, my screen got closed. Actually, the conclusion, according to my faith and my belief system and what I've learned in the Zoom our meeting, that I would think maybe the concept of God has been taken away. I'm thinking from the school, college, universities, and that's what, if we bring the concept of the Creator who created us, and that will make a big difference in our lives. And then, so we will more aware of the creation of the Creator, of the God, and who have created all these different things, animals and our resources, our planet, interaction with each other. That's all important. And with the interfaith, I'm thinking as interfaith, people of different beliefs and come from different walks of life, with different education and expertise get together and work through their communities and work in their own community, in their own city, state, and then it will spread to create the awareness. Because if we create the awareness of how we can fight with the environmental and social injustice, then we can create a better society around us. And I think that's my message and my learning from this lecture. And then I think this is one of the things we can do. And so right now we have a lot of things in the world, and we have seen that the earth is just very angry because it has so many calamities, disaster, flood, hurricane, earthquakes, tornadoes, volcanoes. So it's like chain of reactions, and because we have done so much injustice to the earth, and that's our living place that provided by God who created us. So that's is so much injustice and environmental and social injustice in the world. That's why the earth is retaliating us, right? And it's just so angry because we have damaged so much things. Our ozone layer, our air, our soil, our water, and so much pollution in the ocean. And there are so many diseases because of different pandemics, and all this has been because of these things. So once we realize and we create awareness all together with people of different faiths and belief, we can work together to improve as much as we can. And also, according to our beliefs, that this is going to happen at the end of time. So when the end of time is on earth, all this injustice with different environmental, social is going to happen, and fire, famine, wars, and different things. And so, to the best we can is to reach out to the people who are unfortunate, and we can help them out in our community and worldwide, and just create a better society. I think that's pretty much I like to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Kasim. And we do apologize for the time to closing this meeting. Also, I would like to recording quickly our name, our country, and our religion. So we can say our name, our country, and our religion. So I will make an edition of the video to share with all of you in social media. So I will start. Basubandu, Mexican living in the United States. Would you like to go next? Or no,
Venerable Chidao, from Vietnam originally, and I am a Theravada Buddhist monk.
Jan, would you like to go next?
Hi. I'd just like to conclude. Thank you so much for the wonderful lesson. So my from here is that the ultimate thing that will go is a peace, which can be, predicted because I say that we are dependent, and in fact we are interdependent. So I think as we share this earth, let us share the responsibility to take care of our Mother Earth properly. And then also, I'm a bit worried, and I understand that we are actually borrowing the natural environment from our future generations. So let us not the future generation into a that. Let us come together to one platform and work for the Earth, and let social and environmental justice happens very soon. And I wish and I pray that peace will follow the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Would you like to mention your name, your country, your religion, so I can make the edition of the video?
This is to me, Basu?
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Okay, once again, I am from Bhutan. So my youth group is Youth Association of Semjo. I will link in the chat. And I'm an active volunteer to a lot of other groups in that way. So yes, I enjoy being a social worker, and also who can at least make a little bit positive impact in the life of some people. Thank you.
Thank you, yeah. Would you like to go next, Diane?
Sure. Hi, my name is D'Angelo Perez. I'm from the United States, and I belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Thank you, D'Angelo. Victor?
So my name is Victor Jaines. I'm from Miami, Florida originally, but live in Arizona. Roman Catholic at the Franciscan Renal Center.
Thank you, Victor. Cassie?
Thank you, boss. My name is Kashif Nasser. I'm originally from India. I'm a US citizen living in USA, and I love my country. It's beautiful, actually. And then my religion is Islam, and I'm Muslim. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. saying, I wonder, Sabir, if you are there. If you cannot speak right now, I will go with you, sir, and I pass the time with you, sir, for the conclusion, for closing. I think Sabir is mysterious.
Okay. And I think Hyacinth is Elvis. And I see Elvis has raised his hand, so let's just see, because we haven't had his voice in the call today. So Elvis, are you able to unmute? I'm not sure which account you're on that you're able to unmute and introduce yourself. I hope so. If not, I know there are real struggles with internet connection. And particularly.
It looks like the Hyacinth story is also from Malawi. I think that's Elvis, and he looks
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's it. That's how I'm trying to connect in terms of his hand raised. Yes, I'm trying to see if I think he's on 2 devices actually. I think it's the same person. But I'm really sorry we're not able to get your full voice in, Elvis. Okay. Yes, I see your phone is having problems. And I will just say I'm Sarah Oliver from Cape Town, South Africa, and it's a pleasure to have you all here for this call. So thank you so much for taking the time and joining the space. Please do take a moment to just fill out the evaluation form if you'd like to. It's always helpful for us. And I will just say these events and occasions happen, like I said at the beginning, once a month through the URI network, and it's really just an opportunity for young people to get together and have a conversation. And we've had some beautiful themes and discussions and talent shows in some youth connection cafe spaces as well. So if you have a curiosity for meeting other young people from across the world and really engaging in dialogue, please do stay in touch. I also just in my role with URI send out regular opportunities in terms of conferences or events or funding opportunities sometimes of projects that are specifically related to youth working in peace building and interfaith work. So do pop your email in the chat if you want to kind of hop onto that database and stay connected with some of the things that are happening there. And just a huge thank you, Vastu, for hosting this event and coming up with the idea and pulling it together, and inviting our special guest as well, and just creating such a wonderful space from the Arizona Faith Network. Just a huge thank you to you and all the good work that you're doing from not just the Arizona Faith Network but across the world. Vasubandhu tends to be involved in so many just global interfaith initiatives. It's incredible to know you and be able to work together in spaces like this. So a big thank you, and please do enjoy the rest of your days and evenings and spaces, and take good care of yourselves and one another. So with that, thank you so much.
Thanks Sarah, thanks Pastor, thanks Venerable. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings everyone.
Blessings to all of you. Take care.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Take good care.
It's all good. I don't need the power bank anymore. It has completely. Literally, as they concluded, I was on 2% on this one. Yeah.